Maybe I should have cleaned the lens with this camera. Worst way you can do it. Okay. Yeah. That's cool. So you said the echo.
These buildings, these skyscrapers, they're alluding to the new structures coming up in Nigeria on the coast at Lagos.
Wow, that's cool.
And
so you bridge from Black Bottom all the way to
yeah,
Kilimanjaro and Nigeria.
Right. And Egypt and Nubia. See, these are Nubian
pyramids. You're right, the taller.
Well, these are Egyptian pyramids. These are Nubian, more like apartments.
But they have the taller spires, I guess. That's how I'm describing.
This is it right here. That's what I'm pointing at
Mm-hmm.
right here. This.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved this structure, this building. I made it smaller or put it more in the background because the perspective was getting thrown off at that size. I've got a game of Mancala at the bottom. And these people are jumping, with Kilimanjaro in the distance. And I want to change their outfits so that they're wearing traditional African, performance wear. And then more people here to crowd it out. More crowds in the background, more in the foreground. You don't see it so clearly here, but this is actually a couple of hoop houses and a water tank. And this stick figure by the car, that's over here. This guy. There was actually a car manufacturer who had a car on the market 100 years ago. He their shop closed down in 1917, 1918. But this his name was Patterson. This automaker. He's the only African American automaker, and this was out of Greenfield, Ohio. But he was born a slave, and he learned to be a blacksmith, and he started making horse-drawn carriages, or the hardware for horse-drawn carriages. And he went from doing that. He had a successful company making horse-drawn carriages, and then he started making horseless carriages. So he was a contemporary of Henry Ford, but you don't hear
anything about that. Yeah.
You don't. So I'll have him kind of in a distance, but I think that he goes along with the black bottom part of the mural. But even though he was in Ohio, I still think that, if I can reach to Egypt and Nubia and, Mount Kilimanjaro and Lagos, Nigeria, why not Ohio?
Yeah. Just down the street from it.
Right.
Which may or may not, well, what was it, Springfield, Ohio, or Greenfield? Greenfield, Ohio? Yeah. I was going to say, if Toledo was acquired as territory for the state of Michigan, that would have been no difference anyhow.
Right.
It's different. Well, anyways, it's all native land, so that's
yeah.
That
But I'd like
Miami
to know
Maumee.
more about what made him shut down his shop, because from this this information I'm going off of is from an article written in February in Car and Driver magazine. February this year. I had heard about him earlier, but yeah, it's the kind of thing you hear about here or there, but then you don't anywhere else. You don't hear about it, and years can go by. unless you like really dig in on the research yourself.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
I think it's cool. Like it's a really nice integration of different references and histories. Like I really enjoyed that you have the black bottom fitting in with new developments that are of the African economy, and also of course like history in the U.S. with the automotive industry, and that even that distance that you have there for him, where
Mhm.
it's like people don't quite connect, but if they really look into it, they realize, oh, there actually is a figure who is kind of a distant piece of the history because we don't know
Right.
much about
And
him.
I think, oh, what's that car doing in there? That's not African. But
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. And obviously, just like I'm always impressed with looking at how you work with different scales and sketching out whether it was your genealogy and doing stuff in this like long document format, or even as you work through the different pieces of the mural. And I guess I can see how you were talking about maybe doing panels. Is that what it was? These each of these colored mock-ups.
These are just. This is just when I was doing research on structures.
Oh, you did
So,
it on the back of your blank business card thing.
well, these are
Yeah.
flashcards.
Flashcards, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just looking into architectural styles from different parts of Africa. You know, I only did a little research at that.
No, that's really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, even especially when you're mentioning that you were considering how to facilitate out the painting, that each of those elements getting that's a research project for someone to pursue and learn, and just them knowing a little bit, taking not really ownership or responsibility over a particular quadrant or whatever it is, a particular section of the
Right.
mural.
Well,
They become storytellers because they've learned a little bit of the history, and it's very similar to the jelly, right? You have this kind of artistic engagement, but also there's a way to advise and show, like there's a different way to approach certain conflicts or opportunities, and of course the history behind it. That's me getting excited. That may not have been what you were thinking of, but when it comes to the depth of consideration you've put into the mural,
well,
it's nice. It's rarely
thanks. It would be 3 panels, and see they would be divided this way. This is one panel to here, kind of splitting the female jumper, and then the next panel will split the male jumper. But see, that's 4 feet, 4 feet, 4 feet, 8 feet, 12 feet, 8 by 12 all together.
mhm.
But yeah, three 4x8s.
And that side was the one that you feel more comfortable with the proportion and the perspective and everything.
Hmm?
This was the one that you felt more comfortable with as far as the composition and everything. This side.
As opposed to this side.